expected it to be empty considering his hand was already missing. So probably his whole body was gone. But no, when they opened it up there, was Willie missing his left hand, but that was on all at the bottom of Wiley's casket were all of his internal organs just sitting there in a rotting pile. And so Captain Lewis is staring at this, having no idea what to make of it, but the first thought he had was okay, maybe somebody tried to rob Willie's casket, but he is thinking, if they did that, why did they cut out his organs and stash him at the bottom of the casket? And also, why did they remove his left hand and chuck it in the river like that? Does not make any sense. It felt like every clue Captain Lewis found was only making this case harder to solve, but he hoped when he sent off Willie's body to the county medical examiner that they would be able to provide him with some more answers as to what happened here. Later that afternoon, the county medical examiner would perform an autopsy on Willie's body, and the first thing he noticed when he began was that despite the fact that Wiley's organs clearly had been removed, that Will's abdomen did not appear sunken and it appeared full. So the medical examiner started the autopsy by cutting open Will's abdomen to see what was in there, and when he saw what was inside of Willie, he just froze, having no idea how to react to what he was looking at. He had never seen anything like this in his entire career, not even close. And so the medical examiner just grabbed the camera, took some pictures of Wiley's midsection, and sent those pictures to Captain Lewis the next day. Captain Lewis sat inside of an interview room in the police station AC, across from a 45-year-old woman named Paula Green Albritton. Paula owned and operated a funeral home along with the help of her son, and she had been the one responsible for Willie's subtle burial. And so Captain Lewis asked Paula about Will's burial, and she would tell him that Willie had actually died in poverty, without any family members to help cover his burial expenses. However, when Paula had found out about this, she said she had agreed to do the burial anyways for no cost as sort of a community service. However, when Captain Lewis poked and prodded and tried to ask for more information about exactly what that meant, Paula would eventually concede that there actually was slightly more to her rationale behind wanting to do Wiley's burial. It was not just for charity. 2 days after this interview, police arrested both Paula and her son, and at Paula's trial, the truth surrounding what happened to Willie finally came out. It would turn out Paula's funeral home business was really struggling to the point where, if she could unstart generating some real money, her business might go under and she could unhave that. And so Paula decided she would conduct a prosperity ritual to right her business. But to perform this prosperity ritual, Paula needed a body. And so along comes Willie Suttle, who has died in poverty, and his family you went to afford his funeral. And Paula says, do you worry IL, take him on for free, but really what she needed was Wiley's body, and once Paula and her son had possession of Wiley's body, they began the ritual, which started with Paula's son carefully cutting off Willie's left hand, and then the two of them cut Wiley's midsection open, removed all his internal organs, and then Paula got out all these voodoo dolls and she wrote on pieces of paper the names of the other funeral homes, her competitors in the area, and she pinned these pieces of paper to each of these voodoo dolls, and then she took those voodoo dolls and jammed them inside of Wiley's abdomen in the empty cavity they had created, and they stitched him back up, and then she took Wiley's body and his organs, and she chucked them into a cheap casket and had him buried, and then she also took the hand that her son had removed. She put it inside of a plastic bag, added some weight to it, and chucked it into the Manatee River. Paula believed this voodoo ritual would literally cause the owners of the other funeral homes whose businesses she wrote down on the dolls and jammed inside of Wiley's body, that this ritual would literally cause all of them to be struck down and killed, putting their businesses out of business, thereby leading to her business prospering once again. However, none of these things came to fruition. The ritual did not work the way Paula intended it to. Instead, the hand that she had thrown into the river ultimately washed ashore, and before long the police figured out what Paula and her son had done in 1999. So 2 years after Willie's hand had washed up on shore, Paula and her son were found guilty of desecrating Willie's corpse. Paula's son ultimately served 1 year in prison. As for Paula, her conviction was actually quickly overturned due to a technicality. It was discovered that during an interview with Paula, that police detectives told her that she could not be convicted if this ritual was part of a religious practice, that she was protected under the U.S. Constitution, and so Paula, who confessed to doing this ritual, did so by saying it was part of her religion. She practiced voodoo. I am a voodooist, Maham, and IV survived because I know how to survive. And that S, a part of my religion. And so, in court, that confession was ruled inadmissible. And so, she walked free. Here is a photo of the 12 voodoo dolls found inside of Wiley S.'s body with the notes. Paula wrote, cursing her competition still attached. Are you the type of person who has binged basically all of my YouTube videos and every week you anxiously wait a new upload? If so, thank you. But also, you are in luck because if you didn't know this, we actually have a separate podcast, the Mr. Ba podcast that has literally hundreds of stories that are not on YouTube that you can binge right now. That podcast is available on all podcast platforms. Again, if just call the Mr. Balin podcast, and on Mondays on that podcast, we upload exclusive new content that is not on YouTube to the podcast. So that Mondays, and then on Thursday, we remaster the audio of your favorite videos on YouTube and put those on the podcast. But again, Mondays, those are brand new and exclusive to the podcast. But if you want to hear those exclusive episodes 1 month ahead of Apple and Spotify and all the other platforms, well, there's only one place you can do that, and that's on Amazon Music. So again, you can go to any podcast platform and find the Mr. Balin podcast. Or, if you like me and you hate waiting and you can listen early and Adri on Amazon Music.